Welcome into another exciting edition of Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye Lee-McNelis. The Lady Eagles unfortunately had to put the stress ball to use this week as the Lady Eagles hit the road to Charlotte to take on a Charlotte 49er team that had 5,000 screaming kids in attendance. And then, as we'll be talking about in our next segment, made the trip to take on the Monarchs of Old Dominion. And coach, this was a game, you break it down for 3 of the quarters, it's a tie ball game. But the second quarter happened, and they hit everything they looked at, shot probably in the neighborhood of 80% in that second quarter, outscored us by 21, which was the final margin in the ball game.
You know, Josh, the first quarter was really good. We get in foul trouble. We have to bring Jayla King, Caitlin Jenkins to the bench. The second quarter is truly like a snowball at the top of a mountain, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger as it rolls. And that's what happened in the second quarter. We missed layup, we missed free throws, we missed every shot. They made everything going the other way. And you could see the frustration totally begin to swell, and it did. And it really blew up, and we didn't have the inside force of Miss Double-Double, Caitlin Jenkins, to try to control the inside of that paint. And then Charlotte heated up on our perimeter game and in turn created opportunities for them to be able to get baskets on the run, and they did. You know, it was just a very frustrating second quarter. The thing that we can say, Josh, is that we totally didn't quit because we played them even from the last 2 quarters. We tried very hard, throwing different defenses at them, throwing different presses to try to gain some ground from that second quarter. But I'm telling you, Charlotte had too much momentum going their way for us to get over that hump.
It was a 22-point, 10-rebound effort for Caitlin Jenkins, and the Lady Eagles, number 3 in terms of scoring defense in the league, but it's been scoring that has been the struggle.
You know, and it has, and it's opportunity after opportunity where we had shots and did not make shots at the rim. And, you know, as a coaching staff and even as a team, it's frustrating, to be very honest with you, because we have spent over this break 30 minutes every day of shooting the basketball, shooting them out of our sets, doing rhythm shooting, which I believe in both kinds of shooting. You got to shoot them out of the sets where you shoot them in the game, and then when you're a great outside shooter, you have to get rhythm shooting in where you just shoot and move. Somebody's rebounding, hands ready, legs bent, and let the ball go. And we've done that. We just haven't seen fruits of that labor, and it's very frustrating to all of us.
It has been very frustrating, and one of the things that was such a key for the 49ers was 5,000 screaming kids, as we touched on at the top. We got to figure out a Drive for 5 promotion here because 5,000 fans, it is a difference maker.
You know, and Charlotte did a great job. I mean, they're a very good basketball team. They're one of the most experienced teams in Conference USA that are returning. And I just think we don't have the leadership at this point that is needed for when it starts going bad. And then you can't even hear yourself think. Josh, we had to call the plays on a dry erase board from the side. That's how loud it was. I think Charlotte's cheerleaders were throwing T-shirts in the stands for 40 minutes because it wasn't like we were in the cafeteria and they were talking. It was screaming constantly. You could not even hear yourself think on the bench, much less on the floor. Charlotte, you have to say hats off. Tremendous job with their student day. And we were one of the ones that fell victim to that. But again, hats off to Charlotte. Very good basketball team. Lefty Webster and company can really, really score the ball. You know, Kira Gordon, they just had a lot of weapons that were very experienced from last year that returned and really is the core of their team. And that's why in the preseason I picked Charlotte is one of the best teams in the league.
We went from a quarter away against this Charlotte team to a play or two away against Old Dominion.
Right.
We'll be talking about that in our next segment. So what was the big takeaway from the Charlotte game?
You know, I think the biggest thing is that we have to have different players step up. You know, when Caitlin Jenkins and Jayla King goes out being in foul trouble, we've got to have other players step up. The flip side of that is Jayla and KK's got to guard and keep their hands off. That really, really affected us in that basketball game because, you know, as our team has matured, we've began to depend on them a lot in scoring the basketball for us. So they've got to play defense early. They can't play when not being in a stance and then try to recover, and that's what happened with us trying to be able to guard because it was like we were second late in getting there. We've got to be able to do a much better job of that. So they've got to get ready. I think the thing is other players have got to feel a responsibility to step up, and I got to score the ball for us. I got to score. I got to stick the ball in the basket. And we talk to them a lot about responsibility and growing up and handling situations when it's my time to shine. It's time to step up when that opportunity presents itself. And I think we saw some of that as we went into the Old Dominion game.
More Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye McNelis coming up right after the break, and we'll be back to talk ODU right after this.
Thank you so much for this prestigious award. I would like to thank my friends and family.
Hey, it's time for your homework.
Coming, Mama. As I'm saying, I would also like to thank my educators for all they've done with me. Without them, I couldn't do anything.
And the winner of the first place award for small cities is Hattiesburg, Mississippi for the Education Initiative.
What are you doing back there, Haley?
Feeling like a winner.
As we continue with Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye McNelis, the Lady Eagles then made the bus trip to Norfolk, Virginia to take on the Monarchs.
A long bus trip, should we say.
The Monarchs of Old Dominion, one of those trips that it took a while, but thank goodness we had the early game, allowed the Lady Eagles to settle into the Norfolk area, put in a lot of extra film, get in the practice time needed, and we saw the bounce back and the energy and the grit from the Lady Eagles, but it just was, again, another one of those games where the Lady Eagles couldn't buy a bucket.
You know, Josh, we really played well in spurts in that game. If there is one thing that caused me to bite a hunk out of this stress ball, it was rebounding. We did not box out on the left block to be able to take away their second chance points. That's the reason we lost that ball game, is truly the box outs on the weak side. We did not put bodies there. ODU is extremely athletic. We were there, but we weren't there. You know, they're coming up over us, they're snatching it, they're just an extremely athletic team. Jenny Sims is one of the best players in the league, and rebound after rebound, she just climbed up over us and was able to get them. But even with that, Josh, we had opportunities. Missing a layup, missing free throws down in crunch time where we can tie the ball game up. And again, it was a 7-point game, but it was a much closer game than that, we all know, as we had opportunity after opportunity. And then we get into the foul game. ODU struggles shooting free throws, but they didn't on this night. Everything went their way in crunch time, and the Lady Eagles fought as hard as we could fight. We just couldn't finish the baskets that are needed.
And sometimes when you're a very athletic player, if you're watching or if you're a part of an athletic team, your athleticism can lull you to sleep. We've seen that, at times for the Lady Eagles. You're there, you're in position, but you've got to put a rear end on somebody and drive them out.
And I'll be honest with you, the first day back in practice, we went and chucked people and then turned. Because, again, those balls begin to bounce high. And, again, ODU is so much more athletic than us. They just went up over us and got them. Yes, we were there, but there was no contact. And when you don't make that contact and you're going against a team like an Old Dominion that's a great offensive rebounding team, they're going to be able to get the most of it. And they did. But, again, I think you look at our team, and our team really rebounded very well. Again, I don't mean rebounded the basketball, rebounded mentally. Very well to be able to play an Old Dominion team that just beat Charlotte by like 18 at their place just the week before. So again, Old Dominion's a very good basketball team. So I think when you measure that, you understand how the Lady Eagles truly bounced back. We just didn't make the shots that were needed at the right time.
It was a brutal non-conference schedule played by Old Dominion, so fans don't lose heart, I should say, in looking at their record and then saying, well, that was a game you should win. That was a team in Old Dominion, preseason pick number 2 in Conference USA. We'll take a break, come back, and when we return, we'll be joined by Megan Brown. We'll hear from the sophomore out of Slidell, Louisiana. We'll hear how she is coping through her injury, bouncing back, and helping this team despite being on the floor playing this season. She'll still have 3 years left after this year. And then in our final segment, we'll talk about the big homestand coming up shortly this week right here at Reed Green against FAU and FIU. Back with more Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye McNelis right after this. Welcome back to Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye Lee-McNelis. As you can see, we're joined by Megan Brown, the sophomore out of Slidell, Louisiana, here in the third segment of our show and getting a chance to catch up with you, Megan, a little bit this year. And fans have seen you on the sidelines at the home games, and you've even been able to make some of the road trips, but it's been a different role for you this year. That began in the offseason when you found out that you weren't going to be playing this year, that you were going to take a red shirt this year and get fully healthy. Kind of take fans back through this journey and how it all occurred and how you made this, I think, very wise decision to take a year and be 100% when you come back.
Well, I did find out that I was going to need surgery, and the process took a little longer than I would hope. But, you know, it's an injury that a lot of athletes face, and I did that, and I took the redshirt year. And it's a different role sitting on the side. I'm one of those people that I thought I was invincible, and that was part of the problem. So taking a whole year off for me was a difficult decision, but I think that's where God needed me, honestly. And I think that for my body, it was the best decision, and for the team.
And for you, just being a sophomore, it's allowed you to really dive into your studies. It's allowed you to also be very involved in organizations like the FCA and do some different things on campus. And so the plate is full despite not being on the floor.
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy because a lot of doors got opened up in the time that I was hurt, and opportunities to do things that I would not have been able to do if I were practicing all the time. And Coach McNelis was really gracious to me about letting me go places like Pink Huddle with FCA when we were practicing, since I wasn't able to participate.
And again, so many worthy endeavors that Megan takes part in. And for you, leadership is such a key. One of the many reasons you were brought here, to be a scorer and a defender and all those things, but also the leadership roles that you bring to the table. A tremendous amount of that is just natural with you, but you've had to lead this year in a different way, a lot like a coach would lead. So you've been in the dress on the sidelines, kind of like a coach. How have you been able to embrace that role? What's that been like, that different type of leadership role?
It's definitely a new perspective, for sure. And I think after this year, I would definitely appreciate what coaches do a lot more. But also getting to know my teammates on a different level other than just in practice. And I've really liked that side of it, getting to know what they like to do, what's their favorite candy, you know, just simple stuff like that I've enjoyed. And, you know, you see it from a completely different perspective when you're on the outside. You see so much more.
And Megan, this is a team right now that could use you back on the floor. But again, like you said, it was a tough decision, a wise decision to redshirt this year. And the team, though, has been putting a lot of extra work in, trying to find the right combination, coming off a tough road trip, heading into the big games this week at home against FAU and FIU. What have you been observing over the last 48, 72 hours as this team is trying to find the right combination?
I think we're learning that it takes leadership, but execution with that leadership. And people are trying to fill roles, and, you know, we really miss having those leaders on the court. And I think Brittany Dinkins does a tremendous job helping us out. But we just need people to fill those roles, and we're just still learning. And we took some hard losses in that learning process. But I've honestly seen through just today, honestly, how people are rising to the challenge of meeting that.
This is a huge two-game homestand. In fact, I can't remember in the last 2 or 3 years a bigger two-game homestand because you're a game under 500 in conference. All the goals, though, still out there. And I think we lose sight that it is such a long season. Still 15 more games left in the conference regular season. So how do you keep everybody kind of grounded and not looking ahead and staying in the moment?
Well, actually, my mom sent me a text message after that game and was saying just that, and I shared it with the team. And I said, that's why they call it, she said, that's why they call it a basketball season and not a basketball game. And so we lost 2 tough games, and it hurts, but you got to move on. And we have conference to look forward to, and we have big dreams and big goals. And so you get back to the hardwood and do what you got to do.
Megan, what's advice along those same lines for younger players who are playing the game right now, but they really have no idea, the superstars of today at the high school level, what is waiting for them at the Division I level? It's such another step up in the game. Everybody's good night in, night out. What's the best advice you can give that young player?
Well, I'm sure they hear the work hard thing, but I would say stay in the moment. I think everyone just tries to move on too fast. I wish, like thinking now, I wish I would have done more in high school. And even now, I'm sure I'll get older. I wish I would have done this. And so stay in the moment and have fun, because once it's gone, it's gone. And I have a whole year of experience of just not being able to play. So have fun and enjoy what you're doing.
She's Megan Brown of the Southern Miss Lady Eagles, and so we always enjoy getting a chance to sit down and visit with her. We'll take a break, come back, and continue with more of Southern Miss Sports Today right after this here on the Southern Miss IMG Sports Network. As we continue with Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye Lee-McNelis putting the wraps on Southern Miss and the big week they've got coming up against FIU and FAU. Did you see that tenacity? That's the tenacity we need from the fans this week as we take on both the Panthers and the Owls. And we'll start with FAU coming up on Thursday night, national television audience. You got plenty of time to go home, get ready, face painted, black and gold decked out, national TV, get your signs made. 8 o'clock tip, FSN. It'll be the Owls here. This is an Owl team that puts up silly numbers. They shoot the basketball like you do when you're playing PlayStation. They average 11 made threes a game. They shoot it at almost 50%. That's
They
like
take 30 a game.
Yes, that's like when you jack up all the different power meters on your players when you customize your team. And this is real life with FAU.
You know, Josh, they set a record 17 threes weekend before last. Made 17 threes. We are screaming and yelling for our team to have hands up the entire 40 minutes. I'm telling you, it's not the NBA range, it's almost the parking lot as all 5 players shoot the 3 ball. 4 of their starting 5 shoot at 38% or better. One of them shoots at 41%. That's heck of some shooters, that's for sure. I don't know that those shooters were only just made. I think they were born the way they shoot the basketball. It is unbelievable. And they're big. I mean, their guards are 6 foot. You know, their post is 6'1", 6'2". They're very, very athletic. They're very much going to run some motions. They run a really different type of offense. We really have to work very hard to be able to guard them because they're very, very difficult to guard. They live and die by the 3. They live and die by it. We have got to guard the 3 ball. We have to guard it. We have to get back in transition D. If not, it's going to be a very long night for the Lady Eagles. But who can make a difference? You, the fans. We need you there 8 o'clock Thursday night. Josh, it's all you can eat for $10. Jeez, could I get a wristband and maybe get you to go get me something to make sure at halftime while I'm in there I can be a part of all you can eat?
We've got to, because you got to keep your energy up. This
That's
is
right.
the perfect, no excuses not to be high energy all game with all you can eat.
A lot of carbs. You're all pumped up, and plus getting painted up. And I'm not painting. I don't need you to be painted, okay? But all our fans need to be painted, and it's all you can eat. How many people like all you can eat? Some people ride around and just look for the buffet sign. We've got it right here at Reed Green Coliseum. All you can eat, $10, 8 o'clock, national television, and I promise we'll make sure TV doesn't put the TV on you while you got all your arms filled up coming from the buffet line.
So you've heard that promise, folks, as that's FAU on Thursday night. Then on Saturday, it's going to be the first 500 fans get a rally towel, and then it's going to be kids 12 and under free to the ball game. So it's a great day to bring out the family. FIU is a team that, despite what the record might be, despite any type of what has been going on the previous week or expectations, it's always a great game when Southern Miss and FIU get together.
You know, I'll tell you how good FIU is, and their record doesn't really show. They beat Miami. You know, they beat an ACC team, as did FAU, beat an ACC team. You know, FIU and FAU is very good, Josh. Now, FAU's record is extremely good. Right now, they're sitting second in the league. So they're very good. FIU, forget their record. They have a brand new coach. He's brought tremendous energy, and they are playing extremely well. They play very much a European style, as does FAU, and they really can score the basketball.
Well, Coach, it's been another great visit with you as always. Fans, again, FAU on Thursday, FIU on Saturday. It'll be an 8 o'clock tip-off a little bit later for that national televised game on Fox Sports Net on Thursday night, and then a 4 o'clock tip coming up on Saturday. Don't forget, too, to join us each and every Tuesday night, 6 to 7 at Mugshots Grill and Bar on 40th in Hattiesburg, right in front of the Grand Theater, as we're talking Southern Miss Sports Today on Lady Eagle Fast Break. For Megan Brown and for Coach McNelis and for Craig Adams, I'm Josh West, as you've been watching Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye Lee-McNelis.
People ship all kinds of things
But what if that thing is a few 100,000 doses of flu vaccine
that need to be kept at 41 degrees.
while being shipped to a country where it's 90 degrees? In the shade.
Sound hard? Yeah.
Does that mean people in Laos shouldn't get their vaccine?
We didn't think so.
From figuring it out to getting it done.
We're here to help.